हाय गाइस, वेलकम बैक टू ड्रीम यूके। आपको जैसे कि पता है कि इस चैनल पे मैंने जितनी भी वीडियोस डाली हैं 99% ऑफ दोज वीडियोस आर अबाउट यूके कि यूके में आप कैसे आगे पढ़ सकते हो, यहाँ पे पढ़ने के क्या पर्क्स हैं, क्या बेनिफिट्स होते हैं और यहाँ का एजुकेशन सिस्टम कैसे इंडिया से अलग है। और बहुत सारी चीज़ें मेरी लाइफ के बारे में, जो सारी चीज़ें यूके में होती हैं वो सारी मैं आपको अपने चैनल पर लाता हूँ। लेकिन अभी मैं अपनी पहली यूरोप ट्रिप पे हूँ और मैं ऑस्ट्रिया घूमने आया था एंड आई एम स्टेइंग विद शौर्या, जो कि रमन का फ्रेंड है। रमन के साथ भी मैंने बहुत सारी वीडियोस बनाई हैं। सो आई एम स्टेइंग विद शौर्या और शौर्या वियना में रहता है। वियना इज़ द कैपिटल ऑफ ऑस्ट्रिया एंड हियर ही हैज़ डन MSc in marketing from a very prestigious business school। और मैंने शौर्य से पूछा वियना के बारे में, ऑस्ट्रिया के बारे में, और मेरे को पता चला है कि एक बहुत अच्छी डेस्टिनेशन है अगर आपको बाहर पढ़ने आना है। बट सिंस इट्स नॉट अ वेरी पॉपुलर प्लेस अमंग स्टडी अब्रॉड कंसल्टेंट्स, तो बहुत सारे कंसल्टेंट्स आपको वियना के बारे में, ऑस्ट्रिया के बारे में बताएंगे नहीं। सो दिस वीडियो इज़ अबाउट टॉप बेनिफिट्स ऑफ स्टडिंग इन ऑस्ट्रिया एंड वियना एंड वी विल ऑल्सो टॉक अबाउट सम कॉन्स, जिसकी वजह से आपको थोड़ी बहुत दिक्कतें भी आ सकती हैं। सो अभी मैं शौर्या से सवाल पूछना स्टार्ट करूँगा और वो बताएगा जल्दी से कि यहाँ पे पढ़ाई करने के क्या क्या बेनिफिट्स हैं। सो शौर्या, आई रिमेंबर यू टॉक्ड अबाउट द कॉस्ट ऑफ स्टडिंग हियर, वो एक बेनिफिट है। सो व्हाट विल यू से अबाउट दैट?
So, hi. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Shaura. I've been living in Vienna for quite some time now. When we think of the cost, it's very, very cheap as compared to say US, Canada, UK, Australia, and most of the universities in the DACH region, which includes Switzerland, Germany, and Austria, are government subsidized, and the government universities are of high prestige, and the cost is roughly 750 euros a semester. So if you're studying for like 2 years, your cost would come out to be roughly 3 lakh rupees INR.
तो आप देख ही रहे होगे कि कितना सस्ता है यहाँ पे पढ़ना। यूके में अगर आपको एक एवरेज यूनिवर्सिटी से भी पढ़ाई करनी है तो वहाँ की एक साल की फ़ीस अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 12, 13, 15 लाख हो सकती है और अच्छी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ की 20, 25, 30 लाख। और यहाँ पे 2 साल की फ़ीस एक बहुत ही रेप्यूटेड यूनिवर्सिटी की वो है 3 लाख रुपए। और शौर्य, ऑल्सो टेल मी कि जो आपकी यूनिवर्सिटी है उसकी रैंकिंग क्या है, आपकी कोर्स की रैंकिंग क्या है, सो दैट पीपल नो कि इफ़ यू आर पेइंग लेस फी दैट डजंट मीन द क्वालिटी ऑफ एजुकेशन यू आर गेटिंग इज़ नॉट दैट ग्रेट।
No, the quality of education is very, very high. So my university is ranked, I think, in top 50 business schools in the world, and my course, which is Masters in Marketing, is ranked 10th in the world on the QS World Rankings. I also know that the Masters in Supply Chain is ranked 2nd in the world, next to Harvard. So you can already assess how prestigious the university is.
ऑल राइट, एंड अभी क्या कहते हैं, जैसे कि बताया रैंकिंग वगैरह हाई है, सो व्हाट मेक्स द एजुकेशन सो ग्रेट हियर? आपको क्या लगा यहाँ पे पढ़ के कि अलग? आपको क्या लगा? इंडिया से भी आपने बैचलर्स करी थी, तो मास्टर्स करके यहाँ पे व्हाट वर द मेजर डिफरेंसेस बिटवीन द एजुकेशन सिस्टम एंड द वे दे टीच हियर?
Okay, so talking about just primarily on the education system, I feel it is very different from India from a standpoint that there is a lot of industry connect. You get to hear a lot of guest speakers who come and tell you about what is happening in the industry. And second, the professors are very research oriented, so they would have published a lot of research papers, a lot of publications, so they're very highly qualified, and there's a lot of peer group interaction, a lot of group projects, so and a lot of presentations, so you somehow get that skill of public speaking, outgoing nature of everyone in your class, and then you're studying between the best minds. And the most important aspect is the diversity. You get to interact with people from different European countries. I have people from 4 to 5 different continents in my class, so it's the demographic profile which stands out.
And what's the name of your university and business school?
So my university is called Vienna University of Economics and Business, and in German it's called WU. The short form of the university is WU.
ऑल राइट, और अभी मैं शौर्या के साथ ही रह रहा हूँ, उसकी अकोमोडेशन में रह रहा हूँ। सो ही इज़ नॉट पर्टिकुलरली लिविंग इन अ स्टूडेंट अकोमोडेशन, ऑल्दो लॉट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स लिव इन दैट अकोमोडेशन जहाँ पे स्टूडियो फ्लैट्स वगैरह सब होते हैं। एंड वहाँ पे अगर आप नॉर्मल यहाँ पे जॉब भी कर रहे हो तो भी रह सकते हो, राइट? सो शौर्या ने जब मेरे को अपनी रेंट बताया अकोमोडेशन का, सो आई वॉज क्वाइट सरप्राइज कि इफ़ यू आर लिविंग इन अ स्टूडियो अपार्टमेंट एंड इट्स क्वाइट स्पेशियस, देन हाउ मच यू आर पेइंग such a low rent. So how much you are paying currently on a monthly basis, including bills and everything?
Right. So I asked Ritvik when he came to my accommodation, and I asked him to guess the price, and his first guess was, because he's been living in UK, you guys know, and he has traveled quite a bit around. So he guessed the price to be 1,000 euros roughly.
Considering it's the capital of Austria, you know, and the space and the kind of accommodation he's living in.
Right. So given all of that, I told him that the rent, including all the facilities and the fully furnished nature of the apartment with electricity, gas, everything, it comes out to around, on an average, 500 euros.
Including bills also.
Including bills also.
That is insane, because Edinburgh maybe if you're paying 500 rent तो आप shared accommodation में रहोगे, and that doesn't include your bills. तो even though UK की कुछ cities में सस्ता है, but we are talking about the capital here, okay? So cost of living is much cheaper compared to the UK, and I believe if you move out of the capital city, then the cost will go further down.
Yes, in some places, yes, like Graz, other Austrian cities, yes, but say Salzburg, Innsbruck, the cost is significantly higher.
Oh,
there is a reason that Vienna is one of the most livable cities, because of the government subsidized housing prices.
अच्छा.
Yes, so similar accommodation in Munich or in Berlin would cost you 1,300-1,400 euros.
Okay.
So that's a very decent advantage of being in Vienna.
राइट. एंड जब लोग बाहर आते हैं, स्टूडेंट्स बाहर आते हैं या फिर आप जॉब भी करने आते हो, तो आपको पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट बहुत हैविली यूज़ करना होता है, बिकॉज यहाँ पे वही ज़्यादा चलता है. तो यहाँ का मेरे को पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट भी काफ़ी अच्छा लगा. तो थोड़ा मेरे को बताओगे आप कितना कॉस्ट आपका होता है पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट का, एंड व्हाट फैसिलिटीज़ यू गेट?
So public transport is, I think, one of the most efficient I have seen in my life in Vienna. I've traveled to 19 different countries. I have taken public transport in a lot of cities. I really like London's public transport, but Vienna is a league apart. Within say 5 to 10 minutes of your walking distance, you can either take a metro or a rail or a bus or a tram. So all of these are included in your railway pass, and there is particularly no zone restriction. So the Vienna is a whole one zone. You just buy one ticket and you can access all the facilities there. The second biggest advantage of public transport is that it's very cheap. So my monthly public transport cost as a student was coming out to be 15 euros. And when
monthly?
Yes, monthly 15 euros, and once the student status is no more there, it comes out to be 30 euros a month.
एंड इसमें आप क्या क्या यूज़ कर सकते हो?
All public transport within Vienna. It can be tram, train, metro and bus.
सो आप देख ही चुके होंगे कि मतलब कितना सस्ता है पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट. मैं एडिनबरा में रहता हूँ, जस्ट फॉर द कंपैरिजन सेक, एडिनबरा में बस पास मंथली कॉस्ट्स 66 pounds alone, एंड फॉर ट्रेन यू हैव टू बाय अ रेल कार्ड, एंड बस वाला पास आई थिंक ट्रैम में भी चल जाता है, बट अगैन इट्स एक्सपेंसिव कंपेयर टू द यूके. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, यहाँ पे आप बताओ कि जैसे यूके में वीज़ा स्पॉन्सरशिप इज़ अ बिग टॉपिक. तो यहाँ पे अगर आपको जॉब करनी होती है, PSW कितना मिलता है, स्पॉन्सरशिप का क्या सीन है, एंड लॉन्ग टर्म में PR अगर आपको चाहिए हो तो उसका क्या सीन रहता है यहाँ पे?
It's a very valid point, which a lot of European countries do not say advertise themselves on, is because getting a PR or securing jobs is quite difficult, simply because of the language restrictions and the immigration policies, which are not as easy or weren't as easy as US, Canada, UK, Australia. But lately it has been substantially reasonable and easy to get say integrated into the society. So once you graduate, you have 1 year full-time employment visa where you can look for jobs. Once you secure a job, you can apply for your work permit yourself. So you don't specifically need a sponsorship from your company. You just need an offer letter, and you can go in and apply for your work permit, or a company can do it for you. But there is no hard and fast rule that the company has to sponsor you particularly if you have studied here. Once you do that, for next 2 years you can be employed on that permit, and after 2 years you have full labor market access. You can apply for it's kind of a residence permit, and you will have full labor market access. You can change jobs. Even if you are unemployed, you can still continue to stay in Austria, and no one will send you back.
ऑलराइट. सो जैसा कि अभी बताया शौर्या ने, देखो यहाँ पे क्या होता है कि जैसे आपकी पढ़ाई कंप्लीट हो जाती है, 2 साल में आपकी मास्टर्स हो जाती है, तो आपको 12 महीने मिलते हैं जॉब्स ढूंढने के लिए। एंड 12 महीने के बाद अगर आपको जॉब 12 महीने के अंदर अंदर अगर आपको जॉब मिल जाती है, देन यू कैन सेल्फ स्पॉन्सर योर सेल्फ फॉर 2 years, and after 2 years you have to like pass language exam to further extend your stay, but उसमें भी आपको कंपनी स्पॉन्सरशिप नहीं चाहिए। इट्स मोर लाइक के आप खुद का वीज़ा स्पॉन्सर कर सकते हो, सो कंपनी स्पॉन्सरशिप इज़ नॉट रिक्वायर्ड हेयर। सो इज़ दैट ट्रू कि आप मतलब पढ़ाई ख़त्म हुई, 12 महीने मिलते जॉब ढूंढने के, उसके अंदर जॉब ढूंढी, फिर आपको 2 साल आप सेल्फ स्पॉन्सर कर सकते हो अपना वीज़ा, जिसमें आप जॉब कर सकते हो विदाउट वीज़ा स्पॉन्सरशिप। एंड इन ऑर्डर टू फर्दर स्टे हेयर तो आपको B1 जर्मन एग्ज़ाम क्लियर करना पड़ेगा टू गेट
a labor market access. So once you clear the B1 exam and you have labor market access, you can then stay for next 3 years, and after 3 years you can practically apply for the citizenship.
अच्छा, ओके। एंड ये तो बात होगी PR की। इसके बाद हम थोड़ा बात करते हैं, शौर्य बता रहा था ऑस्ट्रिया इज़ लाइक द सेंट्रल हब ऑफ यूरोप व्हेन इट कम्स टू ट्रैवलिंग, सो टेल अस मोर अबाउट दैट शौर्य।
So Vienna is very central located. So from here, a flight to London is 2 hours and a flight to Istanbul is 2 hours. So I've covered the two extremes of Europe, and that pretty much sums up that how Vienna is the central location. Second of all, Vienna airport is very well connected to the whole of Europe with the low cost airlines like Ryanair and Wizz Air. So I've in last two years I've exploited Ryanair so much that I've been able to travel I think 10 plus countries from Vienna. And similarly the rail transport is quite efficient and you can go to Switzerland or Poland in 7-8 hours.
All right. And how far is India from here if we are talking about Delhi?
Yeah, if we are talking about New Delhi, the direct flight of Air India takes 7.5 hours, so which is very convenient.
काफ़ी कम है यार। एडिनबरा में आपको फ़्लाइट लंदन से चेंज करके 12-13 घंटे लग जाते हैं, एंड लंदन में भी इट टेक्स अराउंड 10.5 hours, सो 7.5 घंटे इज़ आई वुड से मतलब काफ़ी अच्छा लगा मेरे को सुन के कि इतना कम टाइम यहाँ पे मिल रहा है। इसके बाद आप थोड़ा ये भी बताओ कि सिंस आप शेंगन एरिया का पार्ट हो यहाँ पे रह के, तो आप वीज़ा फ्री यहाँ पे ट्रैवल कर सकते हो दूसरी कंट्रीज़ में जो शेंगन इस एरिया का पार्ट है। कितनी कंट्रीज़ में आप बेसिकली वीज़ा फ्री ट्रैवल कर सकते हो?
Yeah, Schengen के वीज़ा के थ्रू आप you have access to say 27 to 28 countries which are part of the Schengen region, and then Schengen visa also allows you to travel to Mexico,
really?
Yes, Colombia, Peru.
Without visa?
Yeah, if you have Schengen visa, you can go to Colombia, you can go to Mexico, and you can go to Romania, Bulgaria. So these are not part of Schengen, but these are part of EU. So I can still continue to go to Romania, Bulgaria,
nice.
so all of these countries.
Nice. And let's quickly talk about safety also, because लंदन UK में उतना सेफ नहीं मानता मैं। वहाँ पे क्राइम रेट है, ज़्यादा तो नहीं है बट है, इट एग्जिस्ट्स। आई कीप रीडिंग न्यूज़ की कुछ ना कुछ हो रहा है। सो व्हेन आई रीच्ड हियर आई आस्क्ड शौर्या कि इज़ इट सेफ़। इवन फ्रांस भी मैंने देखा है, मेरे काफ़ी दोस्तों के फ़ोन वोन चोरी हो जाते हैं, पिक पॉकेट्स बहुत ज़्यादा कॉमन है। लंदन में तो बहुत ही ज़्यादा कॉमन है, मेरे साथ चलते हुए लोगों के पिक पॉकेट हो रखे हैं। तो मैंने शौर्य से पूछा इफ़ आई एम वॉकिंग हियर शुड आई बी वेरी माइंडफुल ऑफ माई स्टफ। तो शौर्य ने बोला कि यहाँ पे ऐसा नहीं है, द सिटी इज़ वेरी सेफ, इवन इफ़ यू वॉक एट लाइक 3 AM in morning it's gonna be fine only. So what do you say about that?
Yeah, I haven't been in a more safer environment than Vienna. It is so comfortable and relaxing to just walk around freely anywhere at any point of time. I haven't felt unsafe in last 2 years at any given second. I know my female friends here as well. They can walk around through the city center, which are generally notoriously famous for being the capital or being the areas where the crimes happen. I know my female friends who have walked around at 3 AM going home or going to a metro station, so it's very safe.
All right. And Shaurya also told me something about the part-time culture here, because UK कनाडा में क्या होता है कि कहीं पे भी आपको पार्ट टाइम मिल जाए, कोई स्टोर हो गया, कहीं हो गया, कोई शॉपिंग कॉम्प्लेक्स हो गया, यू जस्ट टेक इट। बट यहाँ का थोड़ा मेरे को शौर्य ने बताया कि इट वाज अ बिट डिफरेंट। तो थोड़ा बताओ शौर्य, व्हाट डू यू थिंक यहाँ का पार्ट टाइम कल्चर?
Yeah, the part-time culture here is quite professional. So it's not like you work in a McDonald's or a Starbucks as a part-time employee. Obviously, you can do that, But here companies also offer a lot of part-time opportunities. So I myself last year was working part-time in one of the largest Austrian banks in innovation management. So I had my own ID card, I had an office bag, I had an office laptop with me. So I was an employee. It was just that full-time employees were working 40 hours and I was working 20 hours. So I know a lot of my friends who have worked in Unilever part-time. They're working with, say, Henkel, again an FMCG brand, part-time, and Samsung as well. So all these big brands, like even the global brands, they offer part-time positions here along with your studies.
So one of the biggest benefits of that is you get a lot of quality work experience while you're studying, so that really helps you to, you know, later on get jobs, you know. It increases your chances of landing a good job if you already have some work experience. तो ये भी काफ़ी सही है। और इसके बाद आपने कुछ ये भी बताया था जेडी में, यू नो, सैलरी का कोई मेंशन होता है, वो भी काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ लगी थी मुझे।
या बहुत बारी इंडिया में कंपनीज कैन टेक अनफेयर एडवांटेज ना, कि अच्छा तुम्हारी पिछली सैलरी कितनी थी तो हम तुम्हारी नेक्स्ट सैलरी उसके आसपास ही देंगे। बट यहाँ पे देयर इज़ अ गवर्नमेंट रूल दैट एवरी जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन में नीचे मिनिमम सैलरी लिखी होती है, जो आपको व्हेन यू अप्लाई फॉर दैट जॉब आपको उतनी मिलेगी ही मिलेगी, एंड बेसिस ऑन योर एक्सपीरियंस उससे ज़्यादा भी मिल सकती है। तो यू ऑलरेडी नो कि जिस जॉब के लिए आप अप्लाई कर रहे हो उसकी कितनी सैलरी है।
हाँ, तो देखो ये कितना आसान है, मतलब पहले से ही आपकी एक्सपेक्टेशन सेट कर दी जाती है कि मिनिमम तो इतना ही सैलरी में इस जॉब में आपको मिलेगा ही। और इसके बाद हम ज़रा बात कर लेते हैं हेल्थ केयर फैसिलिटीज़ की। तो यूके में हेल्थ केयर के लिए आपको IHS पे करना पड़ता है, तो यहाँ पे भी पूछें कितना आपको पे करना पड़ता है और उसके अगेंस्ट आपको क्या क्या बेनिफिट्स मिलते हैं। मेरे को लगता है कि यहाँ पे जो हेल्थ केयर है वो थोड़ा यूके से बेटर है, बिकॉज कुछ एक्स्ट्रा चीज़ें भी आपको मिलती हैं। सो लेट्स आस्क शौर्य अबाउट इट।
Right. So healthcare here is quite efficient. I pay roughly say 66 euros per month, which is part of the student health insurance scheme, and you have access to all medical facilities, even dental, eyesight, spectacles, everything is covered in that. The second aspect to it, I feel, is the medicines and the medication. When you go and visit a doctor, and if you have any, say, a disease or any illness, and the doctor might prescribe you a medicine that you have to go and buy at a pharmacy. When you go to the pharmacy and if that medicine is prescribed by a doctor, you pay a flat rate of 7 euros. So even if the medication cost is 1000 euros, you are still paying 7 euros because it's part of your health insurance.
एंड इसमें डेंटल, आई वगैरह क्या क्या कवर्ड होता है हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस में?
इसमें डेंटल, even dental is covered. Obviously they might say कि अच्छा dental में cavity filling is covered, but if you want an advanced technology for cavity filling, that might not be covered. But the basic things of cavity filling and eyesight and say two spectacles per year you can get with your health insurance.
बट उसके अलावा हम जल्दी से कुछ कॉन्स के बारे में बात कर लेते हैं, बिकॉज नो प्लेस इज़ परफेक्ट। हर जगहों पे कुछ चीज़ें बहुत अच्छी होती हैं, कुछ चीज़ें उतनी अच्छी नहीं होती हैं, एंड दैट कैन एक्ट लाइक अ हर्डल फॉर यू। सो इट्स important that you know everything in advance, and that's why I also asked Shaurya about, you know, what are the things he doesn't really, you know, sometimes doesn't like about Austria, or some people don't like about Austria. So पहली चीज़ उसने बताया कि Austrians थोड़े से reserved हो सकते हैं. So what do you say about that?
So this is not from my experience. I have a lot of Austrian friends, but I know in general from my other international friends' experience that Austrians can be very reserved. It takes time for them to open up, and it's simply because they live here, it is their country, they have studied here, schooling, they're bachelors, they have their own family, so they already have a friend circle and they speak their own language. So why would they make an effort to speak to someone who is not from their country and who doesn't speak their language? So it originates out of that, and that's the primary reason behind it.
Okay. And यहाँ पे Indian population कितनी है? क्योंकि even though when you are coming abroad you want to, you know, gel up with international students, but at the same time you also need an Indian community so that you feel home when you are away from home. So what do you think? यहाँ पे कितने Indians हैं?
Austria per se is a very white society. You will not see a lot of people of color here, and when I came here initially I rarely saw an Indian in a week in public, but I think I cannot put a number to it, but it's substantially very low. You will have an Indian circle at some point of your time, but it's not as big as say in UK or US. Just to give you an example, I have a batch of 90 students who are doing masters in marketing, and out of 90 I'm the only Indian.
Yeah. And how do you feel about that?
I feel great about it because that pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I think it allowed me to make friends from different parts of the world. Because if I had Indians in my class, it would have been a comfort space, and I would have generally initially decided to hang around with those guys or girls. But given that it wasn't there, I happened to make a lot of international friends.
That's great. And let's address the elephant in the room, the language barrier. So how difficult the life is here? Because जब मैं यहाँ पर आया मेरे को language barrier उतरते ही दिखना स्टार्ट हो गया. जैसे ही मैं एयरपोर्ट से बाहर निकला, सारे रास्ते, सारी जगहें, जितने आपके फ्लायर्स होते हैं, पोस्टर्स होते हैं, नॉर्मल कम्युनिकेशन होती है, अनाउंसमेंट्स होती है पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट में, इवन जो मैगजीन्स होती हैं, जो शॉपिंग सेंटर होता है, हर जगह यहाँ की लैंग्वेज जो मेजॉरिटी में बोली जाती है, यूज़ होती है, वो जर्मन है. सो व्हाट डू यू थिंक अबाउट द लैंग्वेज बैरियर? हाउ डिफिकल्ट इज़ इट टू find jobs and general life में भी क्या सीन है लैंग्वेज का?
So that's basically the elephant in the room. Language is everything. यहाँ पे everyone your age, like my age, Ritvik's age, or say people are around 40-50 years old, will speak English only when you request them to. But the mode of primary communication with all bureaucracy, all rental contracts, mostly organizations as well, they have their language as German. So it is what it is. So if you want to integrate into the society, you have to learn the language, or it's kind of very difficult. But there are English speaking jobs as well. There is a United Nations headquarters as well in Vienna, so a lot of English speaking population too. But again, German is kind of necessity.
Okay.
So from my university statistics, not all international students who came to the university and learned German in their 2 years here, there was a 100% job employment rate for them. So you can just figure out, if you learn the language, you are 100% destined.
कितना learn? किस level तक?
B1.
Okay. And how long does it take to learn B1?
Again, very individualistic.
Range, any rough range?
I think 1 year to 2 years would be very sufficient to get to B1 at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. And marketing में भी चल जाते इतने में काम?
I think so चल जाना चाहिए.
Okay, but you also talked about working for international companies जहाँ पे उतना ज़्यादा impact नहीं पड़ता.
हाँ, तो lot of international companies जिनके clients are outside the dark region of Germany, Austria and Switzerland, जहाँ पे the language is, इस region में language is primarily German. But if there is an international company जिसके clients बाहर भी हैं, तो obviously their mode of communication is in English, and then you just need to know enough German that a casual conversation with a colleague in the office can happen in German, but all meetings and all professional communications are happening in English.
I see. All right. And इसके साथ साथ शौर्य ने ये भी बताया कि, वैसे तो शौर्य ने नहीं बताया, ये चीज़ मुझे पता थी, इसका सेकंड हाफ शौर्य ने बताया. So Vienna is ranked as world's most livable city. सो दैट्स ग्रेट. ये ऑफिशियल रैंक है सिटी की, बहुत सुंदर है. मैंने तो खुद देखा है सिटी को कल रात को. बहुत प्यारी सिटी है, मज़ा सा आ गया. ये तो मैं एक गली में खड़ा हूँ तो ये मैं सोचना दिस इज़ वियना. वी आर अ बिट फार फ्रॉम द सिटी सेंटर एंड वेयर एवरीथिंग इज़. बट you also said कि Vienna is the most livable, but people can be a bit rude sometimes. So what is that about?
So the official rankings of most livable city puts Vienna as number 1. Another official ranking, which is quite ironical, is the most unfriendly and the rudest city in the world is also Vienna. Just Google it. So that's the truth. Nothing can be done about it. People can be rude to you, but if you mind your own business and just go by, it's completely fine. I have never felt any racism or any hate speech. I know people who have, and people can be rude, and it's not just people will be rude to expats or people from outside. Like two Viennese can also be very rude to each other in a public transport. Okay. So it's just the nature of the people somehow.
Okay, and like you talked about racism, you didn't face it, but आपके जान पहचान के लोग थे, उन्होंने किस extent की racism face करी थी? Does it impact their life? And
I don't think so. It impacts their lives. When you leave your own country and come out to study, you have to be mentally strong enough to hear some bullshit comment coming out from random stranger on the street and you ignore it. So I would say that I know people who have just felt that on and off the street, but nothing in a professional environment or the university or in a workplace, but on the street. And on the street, it can be any drunk person who passes by and just says anything, and you don't have to give a 2 cents about it.
All right, so the reason behind making this video was Shaurya wanted to come to Austria, but not a lot of study abroad consultants were providing the information he required. So he did a lot of research himself that allowed him to get to know about Vienna, Austria, the place where he studied, and post-study work visa and stuff. And I thought there might be more people who might want to come here, but they are also not getting enough information. So this was like, you know, first-hand experience coming from someone who is living in Vienna, who has just finished his academic calendar. So first-hand experience मैंने आपको सुनाया, and I hope this helps. Special thanks to Shaurya, who took the effort, and he has to go back home and prepare for some job interviews, but he took out his time to make this video, and that is really appreciated. Thank you so much. And he's also carrying my bag. That's my bag, not his. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, and thank you so much for watching the video till the end. Thank you.
Thank you.